You are about to witness a global movement. The medical system has failed us. Pharmaceuticals are designed to make us sick, weak, dependent. Not anymore. This is the Medicine Girl podcast with renowned healing expert and registered nurse Robin Stebbins. Every week, we shine the light on new ways to heal your body from the root, ignite your inner healer, and tap into your divine wisdom. Begin to live harmoniously with your mind, body, and spirit. You are stronger than you think, braver than you realize. Now is the time to wake up and start living healthier, wealthier, and laugh out loud happier. And here we go.
Okay. Hello and welcome to the Medicine Girl podcast. It is me, Robin Stebbins. I'm here again with the Mr. Jim Hickey to do session 3 on awakening. And what I would like to kind of backtrack just a little bit, and the whole purpose of this podcast, as you hear in the introduction, is this. I think it's not just pharmaceutical industry, it's corporations. And corporations, if you look at a snapshot of how they operate, it's the same as a psychopath. Capitalism, big corporations, all of that is designed to make us fearful and good consumers. And that ultimately weakens our health, our immunity, our spirit, our soul. So the reason I would like to talk about awakening on this show is because if you are awakened to who you are in truth and you have sovereignty over your body, you're no longer in a fear state and you're no longer under the control of pharmaceuticals, of corporations, of government. You see beyond the veil. So that is the whole premise for all of it, is not only awakening to your power, but awakening to your body's sovereignty. You Godding, so that there's no one above you. No one's telling me what to put in my mouth, to put on my body, to feel, to think, to believe. That's all from within. And then that way I can ignite my inner healer. So thank you for that little time for my own introduction. And Jim, why don't you introduce yourself again? I would like to hear something different than the last 2 times. Keep it interesting. And then I will spring the topic on you.
Everybody, I don't know what the topic's going to be, so it's really interesting. I like spontaneity, and I think Robin does as well. Anyway, I'm Jim Hickey. I have been a seeker of knowledge and wisdom since an early age, very young age, and I've kept up the seeking all my life, and studied with a lot of different people over the years, and finally realized that we have that wisdom within ourselves if you listen enough. And that's what all the wise ones, masters, have done before, is just listen to the still small voice within, through meditation, through releasing that which doesn't serve you. So I've studied, and I don't really study that much anymore. I just listen to that still small voice, and that's the guidance. And I think that's the purpose of all spirituality, is to learn to tap into that still small voice.
Yeah, I agree. And that kind of opens up to the idea, and I have a sticking point with this. And this is what I would like to talk about. And I didn't know what we were going to talk about until you started talking. But it's the idea that we know another person, or we know how they feel, or we know what they're going to say, or we know how they operate. I know you know this, or you're the kind of person that fill in the blank. I think my first question is, why as humans, not just you or not just me, but why as the human condition are we so programmed to want to put our ideals and our energy on another person, or to believe that we know another person.
Mm-hmm. I think that as humans that we want to belong, and as humans we want to connect with other people, and it could be, or it could be controlling or manipulative. It just depends on people's intent.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that uh, we want to align with other people. And I know sometimes when I say, we are doing this, or it's like what we said, I'm referring to an alignment and not a separation or a control. But it's important to just speak for yourself, because that is the truth. Speaking for yourself and not speaking for another person um, is.
I really agree with you on that. And I know from what I hear a lot of people saying is they try to tell me who I am, or they see that I'm a nurse, so they assume I have this set of beliefs. Or when I was speaking out against certain paradigms, then I'm aligned with certain branches of the government. So it's all assumptions. And I think it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to, especially if you have a familiarity with someone, you've known them for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You've interacted for a long time. So it's easy to start these assumptions that you know them. And
Mm-hmm.
where the uncomfort lies, and I think it's the uncomfort in all of this, in the process of awakening to yourself, your inner voice, your energy,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
process of not knowing someone. Every moment is a different moment. Every moment is new. So you don't have to put that person in a box and make them make sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's releasing all of it, looking at the sky, not the ceiling, meaning it's the unknown,
Mm-hmm.
and not putting, and especially in relationships,
Mm-hmm.
not putting any of that on a person that you're in a relationship, whether it's a friend, lover, partner, husband, spouse, whatever. Allowing them the freedom to do whatever their soul gravitates towards in
Mm-hmm.
a conscious way. So there's communication about it. It's not unconscious, just do whatever you want, I'll do whatever I want and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's the vulnerability to be honest and say things that are not going to be well received or might go against the ideas of or plans or whatever it is. It's like, well, we plan to go camping, but I'm going to go to Nevada for 3 weeks by myself because that's what I want to do. And having the courage, the spiritual courage, to be in alignment with your soul and allow the other person to be in alignment with their soul sounds good on paper, but it can be very difficult to navigate when you're experiencing this life with another person. And just one more point about that. I think we are here not just to get, there's a lot of platitudes in the spiritual community, the religious community, whatever community you have aligned with. And I
Mm-hmm.
think one of them is, we say all these things as though they're fact. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Cliche after cliche after cliche. That doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it true. So in experiencing another universe, meaning you are another universe, I'm a universe, every entity on this planet is their own universe. I think we're meant to come together to experience one another in authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
and not trying to box anyone, and not just to mirror who I am and what I need and what my issues are and triggers are, but to really look up from
Mm-hmm.
that microscope of the thing we thought we knew
Mm-hmm.
to who you are, and to question that and look at you in a state of wonder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that, and I think that makes that brings spark, and it brings good energy, I think, into life, because when you do the same thing over and over again and have the same thought forms, the same um, mental habits over and over again, I think human beings like spontaneity, they like creativity, they like the unknown. And what you're speaking of, like in relationships, you can have an agreements and be able to uh, ha- uh, be flexible with those, um, working with each individual person with those agreements is what I'm saying. And like I've heard it said, um, like when you drive home every day after work, sometimes drive a different way home. Bring a newness into your life, and I think that's part of what you're speaking of there
Well, and
is
I think
learning to
that's,
be new.
yes, and
Uh-huh.
that's a good analogy that I want to kind of pick at a little bit, because if somebody's telling me to drive home in a different way and I do that, I've put that person, even if it's just a slight nudge above me, it's like, oh, that's a good idea, I'll try that. Instead of aligning with my spirit will tell me, go down this direction. I'm leading with my heart. I don't need anyone to tell me to drive a new way home or to do things differently. It
Mm-hmm.
will be organic. It
Mm-hmm.
just will unfold that way. Or, a lot of times what I'll hear, um, for example, before this whole global shutdown,
Mm-hmm.
I started preparing for it last fall.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I had, was studying and reading the news and looking at different shifts of the planet system and energy
Mm-hmm.
systems. It was, I just had this urge to buy seeds. I just had this urge to buy a ham radio. I had this feeling of something was happening that I needed to prepare for. That was it. And that's the point of all of this, is when we can tap into that internal wisdom and let it guide us. That's
Mm-hmm.
the most powerful thing, I think,
Mm-hmm.
in this universe and in regaining our power.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the purpose of why we're here. Is we're not to follow dogma. We're not to follow the crowds. Uh, Religions for thousands of years, I think, uh, have used manipulation or used control. And I think being able
Yes.
to tap into your own soul, to your own heart, and follow that is the important part. And like what you were saying, and uh, that's what makes life. Part of what makes life worth living is being able to tap into that and listen to that still small voice, because it knows more than you know.
Yes. Well, and I think it's important to point out that when you are well studied, or you've had a lot of teachers,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in a community that has a certain dogma, meaning, or a paradigm. Paradigm means you don't know you're in a paradigm until you're out of it, and you can look back
Mm-hmm.
with 2020 vision and see, like, oh yeah, that wasn't my belief system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was my spiritual community's belief system, or that was so and so's belief system, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you differentiate between all of these teachers that you've studied with? Ram Dass, you mentioned a lot, Byron Katie, you mentioned a lot, versus what is your own internal compass, your authentic voice?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's been a journey of looking without and discovering who and what I am and issues that I have internally. And I think the stumbling blocks that I have with communication, with relationships, it's all about communication, really. And
What are the
so
stumbling blocks you have with relationships?
it's learning to be, I think it's learning to find out what it is that you want, and uh, and to be able to communicate that to another person in a clear manner, and both be on the same page as far as communicating and connecting, uh, and finding out honestly what is needed for each person, and try to work that out in a cohesive way.
Well, what have you found personally that have been your stumbling blocks to doing that?
Well, some of them have been, well, it all comes back to communication. It all comes back to communication. Having expectations, having, not being clear within myself, and whatever is within is going to spill out. And that's why this whole thing about relationships, it all, the foundation of that is the relationship that you have with yourself, and all others are just, is going to be a reflection of that. So in the universe, if you haven't dealt with something, you know, you can get out of one relationship and get in another one, but if the same issues are going to come up each time, you know, it's just the universe loves you so much, it's going to send you the same issues and same lessons in a real precision way.
Yeah, and I see it more as it's just hard science. It's physics.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, it's not,
100%, yeah.
and for me, it's an easier way to understand God is to put it in terms
Physics,
of physics. Every
right.
action has an equal and opposite reaction. If you're putting out the same energy, if you
Mm-hmm.
have the same unconscious belief systems that have been puppeting your strings through your behaviors, if
Mm-hmm.
you have not changed that frequency, the vibration, and that is still science, you know, my brain waves, my thought patterns create a chemical signature, create a chemical vibration
Mm-hmm.
that can be measured. If that's
Mm-hmm.
still the same frequency, it's still going to have the same result.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
just another way to understand it, and that's how I like to understand things for
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Mm-hmm.
When it's like God loves you so much, or the universe loves you so much,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't have any kind of understanding within me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I love what you said there about science, because all my life I have sought out spiritual teachings, and I've always felt inside that I would find the truth, that I would find a lot of the truth behind a lot of these teachings. But I've also realized that science is not separate from the spirit world. It's the same. It's just that it's unknown. You know,
Yes.
it's we just don't know about it yet. And like the electromagnetic spectrum, we see less than 1% of what's available. We
That's what
see
I,
less than 1%.
yes.
And
So
there's a
really,
quote.
like, let's just pause there for a second. We see less than 1%, and I think it's way less than that of what is
It's
in our surroundings.
0.003. Yeah,
Yes. So we're
yeah.
giving the universe, the multiverse, whatever, you know, we are at scientifically, we see less than 1% of it. So that means 99%, most of it, we
Mm-hmm.
are unaware of
Mm-hmm.
here, as I am giving this universe
Right,
form through my organic being. This
right.
tiny little brain and these senses are giving the universe form.
Mhm.
99% I don't see or understand. Or maybe I never will. But that doesn't mean it's not there. That doesn't mean we cannot
Mhm.
work with it from a
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
soul level,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
connecting into universal consciousness. We are
Right.
equipped to do that.
Right. Right. Yeah. And the interesting thing is one of the most brilliant scientists the world has known, Albert Einstein, made a statement, and I just happened to write it down. He said, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. Put out for what you want, visualize it already happening, see yourself in that situation. And so anyway, Einstein knew that, he knew that. And but the reality of it is there is a science to this spirituality. We just don't know it. And that's why I want to do a podcast also on working with the universe, because thoughts are things, they're vibrations. They go out from your brain out into the universe, and they affect your life. And I think
Well, let's talk about that right now. So when there's a lot of talk, and there's, I see Facebook now and Instagram is just nonstop memes and platitudes of, this is how it works, and here's what you should do, and if you want to change your life, do this, and somebody else says to do that, and some other person posts a meme about doing this. Let's just break that all down. Nobody knows. Nobody has the answer, nor will we ever have the answer. I think that's the cosmic joke. I really do. There is no answer. So in that, we now have desires of what we want to be and how we want to project our energy. So to what you just said, how do you work with the universe? And working with the universe means, manifesting is a good way to put it. That could mean I want to manifest healing. I want to manifest connection. I want to manifest abundance. I want to manifest a speedboat, whatever it is. What's the starting point in your opinion?
Okay, thank you. I think that it's working with the universe is no different than any relationship that you have. You develop that, and so you start simple. And so a suggestion is ask the universe before you go to your local grocery store. Ask for a parking spot. Just say, universe, I'd like a parking spot right up front.
What if you don't? What if you don't?
Well, yeah, right. I'll get to that.
No,
so
but that's the point, though. Like if you're okay.
So if you don't, if you do get it, you just say thank you, universe. If you don't get it, you say thank you, universe, and that's why you start simple with working with the universe, is because you want to have something that you're not attached to, because that's a telltale sign of the universe that it's going to send you a lesson, is when you get attached to something, because the universe loves you so much, it's going to help you out. And so you start simple with something you're not attached to, like a parking spot or whatever it is, something simple, and then go to the next level of asking the universe for something.
But first you have to be conscious enough to know when you're attached to something, that energy, and when you're not attached. The non-attachment feeling for me is, I don't care if I get a parking spot up front or it's a nice day. I don't care if I'm 3 blocks away. Right. So that's unattachment for me.
Okay.
So if the parking spot comes up, I know it was directly because I'm not attached.
Right. You can, and I like to say this, that you can have a preference, but just don't be attached to that preference. You can have you can have preferences, just don't have emotional back demands that it needs to happen this way. And that's why you start simple, because you're not attached to that parking spot. It's simple, it's silly. You know, finding a dollar bill, whatever it is, start simple, something that you're not attached to. And then just like with educating yourself, you start in the first grade, second grade, you go slow with yourself and
There's
patient.
too, it gets tricky, because you can now say, I'm not attached to the dollar bill, but I am now attached to working with the universe. So if I don't manifest a dollar bill, even though I didn't care, or I don't give a shit if I get fined a dollar bill or not, or a parking space, but now I'm attached to the outcome. Meaning, if I get the parking space that I was not attached to, that I make that mean something. Like, now I'm working with the universe. Now I'm manifesting. Now I'm attached. Now I'm like almost like a secondary chain of attachment. So ego comes in. Oh, I'm not attached to the dollar bill. I'm attached to finding a dollar bill now, because that will mean that I'm awakening, or I'm manifesting, or I'm working with the universe. The universe cares about me.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
I think it's okay. I think it's okay to learn to work with the universe in a step-by-step way, and the ego would learn what it needs to learn as it grows and changes. But you have to start somewhere with working with the universe, and I think the development of this is very important for many different reasons. But I think it's very important to learn to work with the universe, because, and I'll go to a higher level of manifestation. Years ago, I do copper roofing. Years ago, I had a client that I had that wanted me to do this small barn, and so I met with her 5 different times. And just giving her advice, giving her this, giving her that. And then on the 5th time, after I came home, later on that day, she called me and she says, Jim, I wanted to let you know that I decided to give the bid to someone else. And I said, that's fine, thank you. And if down the road you want another bid, I'll be glad to do it. And so I hung the phone up, and instead of getting mad that that I knew this was going to happen, or I can't believe it didn't happen, damn it, I got excited. I got excited because what I said, and this is the mantra I live by: this or something better, universe. This or something better, because the universe guides you, and sometimes it doesn't want you to have this; it wants you to have that. And so our egos.
So you are the universe, though. So it's not like
Right. Exactly.
you're separate from the universe. It's
no, exactly.
You are working with yourself, the magnitude of yourself.
Exactly.
So my small self or my ego might believe that starting this new online business, I'm just got all this energy to do. I think that's it. But and when I say the universe, I mean my higher self, the energy of myself that doesn't end, the entirety of who I am. So that might be not in alignment with my higher self. So I think what we're talking about here is getting the gap between what this human form in ego just means I see myself as separate, border, barrier, or separation. The ego working in alignment with the spiritual self, the soul, the heart, your spirit guides, your angels, it's all you. Then once you've gapped that, and now you're teammates, you're now, I think, working with the universe.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Let me finish my story, because I don't like to leave that laying there. So after I got off the phone with this lady, I got excited about something better was coming. and I didn't put out the energy to the universe of attachment, or I was mad, sad, whatever negative energy. I didn't put that out there, because the universe will send you a lesson if you put that energy out there. And so what I did was I got excited something better was coming. Yes, it was my ego, but that's okay. We're in development stage. And so I waited, I kept in motion, because you got to keep in motion with the universe. So about a month later, an attorney friend of mine called me and said, Jim, I have a client that has a leak in his barn, big barn. And he said, would you come look at it? So I did. So long story short, I met with the guy. At the end of the hour-and-a-half meeting, he said, Jim, what do you think it would cost to put a copper roof on this it's a big lunging arena. It was like a big church. And I said, I don't know. I'll get back with you. And a week later, I gave him the bid. And anyway, I ended up getting the job. So the universe wanted something better I wanted something. When the universe cut that out, that first job, then I got excited something better was coming. And then something better came. And so it was like 10 times. And then it ended up being 20 times larger than that other small barn, as far as the scope of the job. And so what that taught me is that we do have power. We can manifest, and we can create in our life if we're not attached. And that's the hallmark of the universe. If whatever it is, a relationship, money, houses, cars, whatever it is, the hallmark is not to be attached to the universe. Don't be attached to anything out in the world. You can have preferences. You can have whatever it is that you want. Just don't be attached to that outcome.
And I think too, if I can unpack some of what you're saying, I disagree to a certain extent about, I think it's similar to the way we have structured religions, Christianity and different sects of Christianity and all sorts of different religions. If you're a good boy, you get rewarded. If you're a bad boy, you get punished. And I disagree with that entirely. It's simply a matter of, if we got rid of the labels of good and bad, like what you were saying was negative energy. The idea of that is, if I'm grasping, if I'm attached, if I'm desperate, that energy will repel anything that could be coming in. Not because I'm bad, not because I don't get it. It's just, that's the reaction that I'm going to get. And I think it's a lot easier for people to start connecting in with their deeper selves when it's not trying to be better. Right. So if I'm going to do those emotions, I get the feedback. It's like biofeedback. And when I release that idea that I have to be a good person, or I have to do better, or I shut down.
Yeah. What I'm talking about is beyond being a good person, being a good boy, being the player. But
it's still the labels.
Good or bad.
It's still the labels, though.
Yeah.
Of the negative emotions, or if you release attachment and this is something better, or the universe is saying, I love you so much, I'm going to give you a lesson right now. That's not it.
I mean, we can put, language is it is something that is not easy to, but that's all we have.
It's what we have, and it's the language is coming from our beliefs.
With it. Right.
So when you say the universe loves you so much, it's going to give you a lesson. That's putting the universe, God, above you. So it's this authority.
It's in alignment. Yeah. It's in alignment. Yes.
Instead of being in alignment, it's an authority judging you, whether you're vibration energy is good or your vibration energy is bad. If we
Okay.
got rid of that
Yeah.
language
Right. Yeah.
and we just said,
yeah.
I am looking in the
Right.
mirror,
Right.
smiling,
Right.
and expecting to frown.
Right. Yeah.
That's all it
Yeah.
is. Or the
Yeah.
biofeedback. When
Uh-huh.
these little meditation machines they have now, and you can put them on, put some of the wires on your brain waves, and you can see, they gamify it, and you can see these birds. You get extra birds or something if your beta waves or theta waves do this or that.
Reward. Yeah.
That's
Stimulus
all.
reward. Yeah.
That's what I mean by that. There's no hierarchy to my brainwaves. They're not above me telling you
yeah.
you're good or bad.
Mhm.
Now we can
Yeah.
manifest. Now you're going to get something better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that. The words don't always convey, but I think it's that there's a physics to gravity, there's a physics to chemistry, there's a physics to consciousness, there's a physics to spirituality. And I think that physics is we use certain words that limit. And I think that's what maybe the translation here is that the universe, there's principles. There are principles that work.
So then be cautious with the way you structure your language.
Exactly. But it's a crude tool, but that's the best we have right now.
But I'm not saying that. This is what we're trying to do here is the reality of awakening. I see you putting the universe on a hierarchy, and you're working with the universe as above you.
No, it's a team. That's a translation. It's a team effort, because if it's not a team effort, it doesn't work. It's got to be a team effort, and it's not above you. It's within you. It's part of you. It's who you are.
Yes.
There's no polarity there. It's just who you are, and that's what basically you're doing here in creating. You're co-creating with the universe or with yourself. You can call it whatever. It doesn't matter. The universe, what's that old saying? You can call me anything, just don't call me late for dinner. Universe doesn't care. It doesn't care what you call it. But the principles are what matters. The principles of gravity are what matters. The principles of chemistry are what matters.
Well, let's talk about that, though. Let's talk about just in relationship to gravity. It's still a theory. Gravity works within a certain set of absolutes on this planet.
Yeah.
But the rest of the universe, and I mean, we are the universe. We're not separate. So it's not like the universe is out there and we're here. But all of these theories, these scientific theories, and none of them are facts, and physics, and all of these ideas that we have are relative to dark matter. We have no idea what dark matter is, and it makes up most of the universe, and we assign a number to it, so all our other numbers work. So it still means when we're talking physics, we're talking God, it's most of it, 99% of it is unknown. So we can kind of tap into the biofeedback mechanisms of working with the universe. That's it, working within ourselves, deeply knowing ourselves, deeply knowing where we're still unconscious. Because I absolutely don't believe in Maslow's hierarchy, that eventually we get to the apex and we're awakened, or we're somehow awakening, and now I'm awake. It's a infinite idea. And there's never going to be a place where I'm enlightened, because that's stagnant, that's dead. Then there's no room to breathe. There's no purpose for you being here.
And once you, I've heard it said, once you reach one peak, you look up and see the top of another peak.
That's it.
And it just keeps going. It keeps
Or
going.
or a valley. Peaks and valleys on a globe aren't,
Sure.
aren't up or down. It
Sure.
just is.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think if we can start to awaken to that, that we're running this long race with no finish line. So do you want to jog it? Do you want to walk it? Do you want to sit down and rest? It's all the same. If there's no finish line.
Right.
If there's no awakened, if there's no hierarchy. And it's very easy once we start this process of seeing beyond the veil and awakening to our truths, the ego comes in and is equally evolving along with every other part of ourselves. So it can come in and start trying to create hierarchies and diplomas and finish lines.
Right. Yeah. The ego is it's a tricky thing. And I think I've mentioned this before, that I believe so, is that the ego in its development, it is in what I call specialness training. And you have to be special until you get to the development of realizing everybody else is as special as you are. And then
but also honoring that, honoring the ego's need, because the ego should never be killed. There's no part of us that should ever be killed. It's just as beautiful as anything else. If you have the awareness of it. If I have the awareness of my ego, then I can become teammates, and I don't shame or blame or feel bad about wanting to be special. I'm like, oh, that's just my ego wanting to feel special. That's okay. Yeah, and then all of a sudden the energy is dissipated. It's not controlling me anymore, trying to, put myself out there as a special human. That's, look at that special snowflake. Yeah. That's it. It's, have fun with it.
Yeah. And I've heard it said that ego is a great servant, but a terrible master. That
the brain is that, nothing should be a master. Nothing should be a servant and a master. That's how we've gotten into so much trouble. It's just, we're all walking together side by side, equal. The person struggling with addiction and the most enlightened person that they're equal. And they are equal in their wisdom, and they're equal in their ability to contribute. In their own special way.
Right. And that's why the Holy Land is right where you're sitting. And it always has been. It's what makes it holy is your awareness. And that's
and you are the center of the universe, and that is physics also. The universe is, if you blow up a balloon and put a dot on it, that's the center of the universe. So wherever you put that dot is the center. So there's no center.
Yeah.
So either you are the center of the universe or everyone's the center of the universe. So then it gets to take that weight out of it, and that need and the attachment to define it in any way of the specialness.
Right. Yeah.
But then honoring it, because then I couldn't have this beautiful relationship with my son and be able to love him, because he would just be me, and I wouldn't be able to experience that. And I don't want to give that up.
Right. Yeah. I've heard it said that when you drop your body and you look back, and when you're in spirit form, it's like, I've heard it said that you wish that you would have experienced the love more. You wish you would have experienced the beauty of this life more. And I think that's what most of us, and this can be a whole nother podcast about appreciating and enjoying your life. And
I think it's what you're saying is being in love with reality. We, as humans, are either living in the past of regrets or the glory days or living in the future, a case of the some days. Don't judge me now, because someday I'm going to be everything that I'm dreaming of, instead of making friends, making this the pinnacle. Every moment in the infinite moments, where does a moment start and stop? If you really think about it, if you get down to the micro seconds, does it stop here and start here? No, it's one fluid infinite moment, and that is all there ever will be. So all I have is this moment, and to be shut down from this moment is missing it. It's missing all of it.
Yeah. It's what I call the monkey mind, that most human beings, me included, are controlled by our monkey mind, what I call the monkey mind, meaning that most people don't have a choice. They're on automatic. They
don't
eating,
know they have
sleeping,
a choice.
Going to work. They're just, it's automatic. And learning to listen to that still small voice is an act of freedom, and it's a step-by-step action of learning to listen to that and letting the monkey mind go slowly over its release. And that's why we have all these attachments in our life, is because we've been taught, that this world there's lacking. It's lacking love. It's lacking money. It's lacking this. It's lacking that. You have to live up to this. You have to live up to that. And it's not that. It's about being present, and it's about being vulnerable. It's about being connected with who you are. And I think I said it last time. I love this saying and I'm not sure who said it, but enlightenment is intimacy with all things. And it's like learning to be present. Enjoy that flower in front of you. Enjoy whatever it is that's right in front of you, and get into it and enjoy it. Because
that's what we're out of time. But I think, to sum up just what we've been talking about for this little episode, is how do you know when someone's enlightened? And I mean enlightening by the sound of their laughter. And I think if you really take that to heart, it's you don't take it so seriously. It's just, if everything means nothing and nothing means everything, I get to decide how I'm going to spirit my way through this moment, this infinite moment. Then it becomes back into my sovereignty, my power, my being. I get to spirit my soul the way that puts a twinkle in my eye, or doesn't. If I want to go shadow, then be the best shadow I can be.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. That's that's wisdom, and that takes time to come to that level of awareness of just enjoying whatever it is that comes up, not resisting, not saying it needs to be different, but accepting each moment for what it is, and don't be attached, to.
Or be attached if you start attaching.
Exactly. Ideally, it's best to not suffer, but if you want to suffer, go for it.
Go for it. And sometimes I have to go through the suffering.
Yeah.
It's just a part of it to realize, it's
the contrast.
It's like when I've been sitting at home and all of a sudden someone turns the leaf blower off. My whole body is like, oh, thank God. I wasn't even aware really that it was happening until it was shut off. And so the suffering becomes so second nature, and just that background noise that we're not even aware of it until either the pain gets deep enough or the suffering gets enough to have that awareness of, oh, somebody turn off that leaf blower.
It's the same thing neurologically in the brain when you release fear. that releases energy into your body, and it's no longer sucking the life out of you. And that's why it's so important to become awake and aware in your life.
Yeah, and I don't want anything sucking the life out of me or
exactly.
Yeah. Or anyone else, but that's
right.
I'm not here to save anyone or be of service. I am a light that is shining, and always have my hand out if someone wants to reach out. But that's all it is. I'm not helping them.
Right.
They are ready to change. And sometimes it's nice to just have a hand on your back and someone that sees you walk down that path. What was it? There was a song by Yamina. I don't know how to say it, but I walked through the valley of my own shadow. So when we're walking through suffering, and I know it's hard, it can be a really hard pill to swallow because there's so many different stories of true suffering, but it is your own shadow. It's not somebody else creating that shadow for you. And I do have a lot of experience with that. That is for another show, and we could go on forever, but I think this is a great way to just get a baseline understanding of the awareness of working with the universe through detachment and being in love with the moment, being okay with being in the moment, witnessing the moment in all its glory.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jim Hickey. And looks like we're going to have to do a few more sessions.
There's just a few more topics to go over.
That's a lot.
If you don't figure it out every day, then there's something wrong.
and if the more you learn, find how little you really know, David Barrow's song, you're not paying attention.
That's right.
All right. Have a wonderful day, and everyone out there in virtual land, I hope you have a wonderful day or night.
All right. Thanks. All right.
Bye, Jim.
All right. Bye.